On Sunday, January 21, 2024, a thought-provoking lecture and interactive session titled Resetting the Global Agenda, the Role of India and the Global South took place at the Ultramodern Conference Center of the National Institute of International Affairs, NIIA, in Victoria Island, Lagos. The gathering included notable figures such as the DG NIIA, Professor Ehosa Osage, India's Minister, Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Dr. Subramanian Jaishankar, the chairman of the occasion, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, Professor Pat Utomi, Irelu Abiola Dosunmu, Professor Femi Otubanjo, and other distinguished guests. Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, the chairman of the occasion and the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, expressed delight at India's enduring political and technological impact on global affairs. The guest speaker, His Excellency Dr. Subramanian Jaishankar, India's Minister of Foreign Affairs, delivered an elaborate lecture on resetting the global agenda, emphasizing India's role in advancing the global south and the world.
Now, I refer to the non-aligned meeting, I speak of the G20, because in many ways, they are examples, recent contemporary examples of the global conversation that we have. And this global conversation is actually focusing on the advancement of the global south, because without the advancement of the global south, we are not going to see planetary progress. But this global conversation, by its very nature, is constantly distracted. Some crisis happens, some big event happens, some other agenda comes in place, and the global conversation then wobbles, it goes off track. People lose that sense of focus about what are the priorities. So, one of the big achievements of our G20 presidency was that after some experience with a very polarized, divided world, which was very much, I would say, focused on one particular region, we were able to bring back the attention of the G20, we were able to bring back the attention of the world, we were able to bring back the attention of the global south on the issues that really count today. And those issues are those of sustainable development goals, of clean and green growth, of women-led development, of health, energy and food security, of digital public infrastructure, of indeed of our way of life, and of our planet's future, and of the fact that the growth of the majority of this planet should not be traded against arguments of the well-being of the planet. Both are possible if only we fashion our policies correctly.
Following the lecture, interventions were made by Professor Pat Utomi, Irelu Abiola Dosunmu, all of which were eloquently addressed by the distinguished keynote speaker.
For contributions, will be here till tomorrow morning. I'm sure you know that. Nevertheless, I'll ask for one or two, and then let me be a dictator here. I will not recognize any contribution from any member of the Indian delegation. I won't. So at this time, I will limit it to Nigeria, because you have the foreign minister. You will always have. We won't. So permit me to ask Nigerians, one or two Nigerians, yes, Professor Tony.
Well, thank you so very much, Your Excellencies. It's really a great pleasure to be here. I want to ask two questions. Today, India is overshooting the so-called miracle economies of Southeast Asia. We watched globalization evolve. We saw American scholars like Stevens begin to talk about globalization and its discontents. At that time, Indian academics like Jagdish Prabhuati argued in defense of globalization. India has systematically built all that attitude into a super time. I remember a friend of mine wrote a story at India back in '94, wrote a case study, India, Hindu elephant or Asian tiger. And India has clearly emerged as a super tiger. My question on that track is, in this relationship with a country like Nigeria, above and beyond how can the relationship create an understanding of attitude that made India travel the path that it has traveled to help a partner like Nigeria travel that path?
Talking about the global side, what are the thoughts of the Indian government in counteracting this new emergence of this new colonialism in various guards, and how do you bring that into the conversation of the global south? How to prevent these pitfalls? Because a whole lot of members of the global south are still falling prey to this new emergence that's emerging. Please, thank you very much.
Trade in small arms and light weapons have increased criminal activities in our region, threatening lives and properties. Criminal activities have crumbled our economy in many ways. Sir, how can the global south tackle these needs? Thank you.
I think what has happened in India's case is it's not also that our path was always linear, predictable. We've had our ups and downs. But what has certainly changed, I would say, in particular in the last 10 years. And I say this as someone who's been now close to almost nearing my 50 years in government. That in the last 10 years, in a sense, there's a certain leadership, there's a vision, there's a deployment of technology, there's an understanding of technology. There is a kind of a energy in the society which has been awoken and given chance to express itself. People were always smart, but if you give people, say smart people, a sense of a startup culture, the same smart mind which would have otherwise not perhaps produced startup businesses and 100 unicorns that we have today would have returned itself away. So it's very hard to say what are the exact combination of factors which accelerate national growth and progress, or which slow it down, or which plateau it. It's a variety of these.
The event concluded with a rendition of the national anthems of India and Nigeria.
And so we thought the discussions, the conversations that have been going on about the need to recalibrate the global order, the search for global justice, the search for global equity, all of those issues that have been thrown up by the experiences that we had in the days of COVID, the demands for the democratization of the multilateral institutions, especially the demand for permanent seats for the Global South in the UN Security Council, those kinds of issues that have led to the strengthening of what long ago Professor Bolaji Akinyemi called the concept of medium powers, which today you would find in agencies like BRICS and so on. Those kinds of things needed to be brought fully to bear. So we wanted to see how India could as a great power in the world, collaborate with other great powers in the world like Nigeria on these kinds of issues.